Hey everybody, J.R. Fisher here. I want to welcome you to our training today. I've got a new microphone. I'm trying it out, so let me know. It's this big bulky thing right here. So let me know how the sound is. I would really appreciate that if you put a comment in there. Let me know how the sound is. I've been told I got to be really close to it. It's kind of weird, it's like right in my face. But if the sound's better and you guys can hear me better, then I'm going to go with it, of course. Don't forget, today we're going to talk about what? Owning your own brand, how to own your brand. It's so very important, guys. We run around with all these celebrity brands all over us and, logos on us, and you're advertising for somebody else. So today we're going to talk about how to advertise for yourself, which is kind of a good idea, I think, right? But make sure you say hi in there and let me know about this microphone. I do want to know. And if you haven't watched one of my other videos, listen to this one and then go back and watch another one, one of my lives, because on my lives, I don't normally use this microphone. I use a different one. So I want to know, does it sound right? Is it good? Is it not good? I don't know. I know I've got a little bit of a delay here, so I'll wait for your comments in there. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down there. If it's red, click it, turn it gray. Red means it's a warning. You need to click it. Okay, that's what it's trying to tell you. And don't forget, ring the bell, turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every time you go live. Now, branding is an interesting thing. It's probably, let's see here. Paul says the sound is good. Well, that's good to know. Paul is on YouTube. We're live actually on YouTube and Facebook, I think. Though Facebook, I'm not getting much out of it. I'm just not. Anyhow, let's get to our branding stuff here real quick. Let me pull up my notes I want to talk to you about. If you have a brand, let's say it revolves around fitness, life coaching, financial, planning, whatever it is so important that you actually use that branding. Around 49% of consumers rely on influencer recommendations. So if you're building a brand, and I get sponsored video requests all the time, and I pretty much don't do them because I'm not here to do commercials. You guys get enough commercials, though I may do some in the future, so don't be offended. But it's really important that you build your brand, okay? Because people are going to look at you on down the road and say, do I want to associate with them? Owning the literal aspects of your brand is really important, okay? That's number one. That involves things that we mentioned, before, like, maybe your logo, your mission statement. I just did a video on mission statement and vision statements and what that was, and that'll be going up probably next month. But your colors, your fonts, your general personality of your content. Are you funny? Are you serious? Are you angry? What are you? You may not need a logo as a knowledge entrepreneur, but you probably need the basics of branding on your website. Though I do think a logo is important, and it can be like a comic version of one of your pictures, something like that. The other physical part about owning your brand is where it's located. Can your audience only find you on Facebook, or do you have your own domain and website? I had somebody send me a message this morning, and they were a power seller, and that should tell you something, on a site, and they were making 6 figures a month, but they didn't have their own website. They didn't have email list and all that, and they were just removed from that site, and they have nothing now. So they went from 6 figures a month to nothing, zero zip. So if you don't own your own brand and you don't own stuff, if you're on some of these other social platforms and you don't have a website, you're going to be hurt on down the road, or you could be hurt on down the road. I can't guarantee you're going to be hurt. I know I've lost accounts on Facebook, ad accounts. My wife has lost ad accounts, and they don't even tell you why. I mean, they won't even give you a reason for it. At least if you advertise on something like Google, you can talk to somebody and they can, reassess it. You can have a real person you can talk to. But man, Facebook is harsh. Next thing I would say is you need to own your content. Content is the key to owning your brand. Okay. So as your knowledge as an entrepreneur builds, you can build trust and expertise through your content. That will translate over to your brand as a whole. So to stand out in the crowd, it is important to hone in on your specialty as knowledge and as an intelligent entrepreneur so you can meet the needs of your audience. You also adopt your own unique voice, your style, and even content culture. Owning your brand will come naturally if you do enough videos. I was looking this morning, and I've got 1,100 videos on my YouTube channel. 1,100. And keep in mind, they're all 10 to 12 minutes, but some of them are a half hour to an hour. That is a lot of content. And I'm not getting rich off YouTube, but I know in the long run, I'll make a lot of money on YouTube. I know that for a fact. I mean, that's just the way it is if you get enough content out there. Do you think using your name over a company name works better? By the way, love the colors you use in branding thumbnails. Thank you so much. That is my assistant that does all that, my social media guy. You know, it's really up to you. Like I have J.R. Fisher training, and the branding for that is me teaching you how to make money online because I've made money online. Survivalcave food, I am really almost non-existent there. You don't really see me anywhere. But Survivalcave food is a big brand. It's very well known. It's been around for over a decade. And anything that Survivalcave food comes out with, people buy because we have a really big list. So I think it has a lot to do with your audience and what you're trying to do. Either one can work, but it's entirely up to you. There's been a lot of companies through the years that have used their name in the branding. Let's say Jimmy John's, but you know, Papa John's, you know, used kind of as his name, but it was a pizza place, and then he got into some trouble, and he's out now. So you know, that's the other thing you got to think about. If you do use your name in branding, like J.R. Fisher Training, I can't sell that company. It's impossible to sell that company because it is me, and I can't sell me to somebody else. However, Survivalcave food, I can actually sell to somebody. Okay, I can do that. As you start to implement, you know, both these aspects to owning your brand, you'll discover that there's more ways to monetize your knowledge than you would believe. You won't have to solely rely on like partnerships or YouTube AdSense because people will come to your brand space and directly support you, which is kind of cool. So how do you start this branding and owning your brand? First thing you got to do is get to know your audience. While this may seem like a well-known marketing tactic, it's even more imperative for knowledge entrepreneurs since you are the brand. They will expect you to get to know them so that you can continue to curate relevant, high-quality content. Like, you know, the content that I'm doing right now in this video is stuff that people ask me for. They want to know this stuff. So I have to provide that because I'm their source. As you get to know your audience, your brand will also grow into a community that relies on you as well as each other. I have a lot of people in my community that talk back and forth to each other. They help each other out. You also have to stay consistent. This is a big thing. This is hard for a lot of people. You know, today I had to record videos and I had to get up at 6:30 in the morning and come in here and start recording videos before I started my live because it has to get done. I got to be consistent. And the reason I had to record the videos is I have to have enough so that I have like 2 weeks of videos scheduled on YouTube, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now at one point I was doing them 5 days a week. And it was hard because I would have to record 10 to 12 videos every 2 weeks. That's very hard to do. I'm not saying that a lot of people don't do it. I know people that will post 2 or 3 videos in a day. I know a guy that does 5 or 6 videos in a day. Sean, what is Sean's last name? Sean Gunby, Gunby Publishing. So look up Gunby Publishing, Gunby. And I've seen days where he's done 5 or 6 videos in a single day. Pretty amazing. Now he doesn't do real heavy edits or anything like that or music. But goodness gracious, you've got to stay consistent. So that's the next thing I'm gonna tell you. You have to consistently come out with stuff. You can't do a whole bunch of videos 1 month and then not do anything for 2 months and then come back again. Very rare for somebody to be successful doing that. There's a few people that can do it. You know, if you're Kim Kardashian, you can do it, but she puts out a lot. I mean, she puts out, Paris Hilton still puts out a lot. They constantly put out content. The next thing, number 3, is you got to tell your brand story. Now, it is infinitely easier to own your brand when your story is intertwined with your content. Personal branding is one of the easiest ways to hook your audience and establish trust. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood, a very dangerous neighborhood. I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. And that is my brand. And I went from that to where I'm at now, where we've sold millions of dollars online. For example, maybe, you know, you're a fitness influencer and exercise help you with your mental health, or it helped you lose 200 pounds or whatever it is. Telling this story will keep your brand and content authentic. People will look at you and go, that's what I want to do. I'm where he was, I'm where she was, and I want to get to where he is or she is. So they see that journey, they see the things that you've done, and they want to join that. How many platforms do you think are optimal for building a brand? What platforms do you find get the best bang for the buck? By far, YouTube. By far, YouTube. Now, that having been said, I don't use TikTok, so I don't know. Maybe TikTok would be awesome for me, but I'm pretty well vested in YouTube right now. I found that the reach on Facebook has dropped dramatically, but guys, you got to look at these platforms and why they're good for you or why they're bad for you. If I put a video on Facebook, they don't want to show it to anybody. Why would they want to show it to anybody? Because they make money by having videos or pictures on ads that go through your stream. And if I clog it up with my videos, then that just takes up real estate. They don't want to show my videos on Facebook. However, if I do a video that's helpful on YouTube, YouTube actually makes their money by putting ads on my videos. So if somebody's watching my videos and an ad comes up on there, they're making money. So they want to show my videos. So you got to kind of align what you're doing. Like Instagram. Instagram's another good example. I don't do really much on Instagram, but Instagram is set up to where pictures on there, they want people to look at pictures. And if you're generating pictures that are getting a lot of views and likes, whatever it is you do on Instagram, then of course they're going to show them. Okay. Same thing with TikTok, you know? So it depends on what you're doing, right? It really depends on what you're doing. And then number 4, I hope that answers your question, Paul. I think your story is a great part of your brand, makes you relatable. Hey, we all have a story. Very rarely was anybody born wealthy and people look up to them. I mean, you just don't see it. Okay. It's a pretty rare thing. I mean, if you look at, say, Elon Musk's story and his childhood, and he's Asperger's, I think he has. He was picked on as a kid and he was beat up, and he was beat up so bad when he was, I think, 8 years old that he went to the hospital. Kids picked on him all the time because he was so weird and unusual. Now he's weird and unusual, genius-like, right? We look at Elon and go, my gosh, he's amazing. We just want to be around him. We want to listen to him. That's got to be a weird switch for his brain too, because what happened to us as a kid really sticks with you. I know my 2 best friends from childhood are extremely wealthy, probably worth in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And both of them went to prison. One of them was for drug smuggling, and another one was for, conspiracy and getting involved with hiring police officers. He did all kinds of stuff, money laundering, and both of them went to prison for a number of years. And I gotta reach up here. My computer screen has gone out. There we go. So it's really important to realize that your story, whatever it is right now, whatever your story is right now, good, bad, or indifferent, it can change. Okay. You could be really wealthy and lose everything. You could be very poor and get very wealthy. Your life is not stagnant. Your life is not what it is right now. Okay. That's just temporary. Everything's temporary. Okay. The next thing I would say is start your own language and speak your own language. A huge part of owning your brand as a knowledge entrepreneur is the language you speak with your audience. Are there terms or acronyms that only your followers understand? I think you got to be really careful with this, because I think you can speak over the head of some people. I kind of catch my wife doing that every now and then. She does dog training and she uses a lot of terms that the average person doesn't know. And I'll catch her at it and I'll say, hey, they don't know what you're talking about. They haven't read the books you've read. They don't have the knowledge you have. You got to dumb it down a little bit. So all of my training, I'm not very fancy anyhow, but all of my training is really for basic stuff for people. It's not fancy. It's not, magical or any of that stuff. It's just, what it is. The next thing you can do is start a podcast. I think that is very helpful. You can create a blog that you update weekly. You can host a webinar. I've done lots of webinars. You can start a referral program for your audience. You can write guest blogs on other sites. Gosh, guys, there's so much you can do. You can create a members only or VIP group, which I do have on my inner circle for select few in your audience. As a knowledge entrepreneur, which is what I am, I'm a knowledge entrepreneur, but I'm also a e-commerce entrepreneur. But as a knowledge entrepreneur, you don't have to do it alone, and you won't have a piecemeal of your brand in a variety of places, which is difficult. And that's another thing. When Paul asked about, where do you do some of this stuff? I don't want to do it in too many places. I just don't want to do that. Let's see here. Paul says, what would you say your main touch points are for your brand that you touch on a lot? I think my main touch point is you don't have to be technically oriented. Okay. You don't have to have a lot of technical knowledge. You don't have to have experience. Anybody can do what I'm doing. Okay. It's not rocket science, what I'm doing. So I think the point is you can learn how to do anything. The only thing I haven't learned how to do is type. I'm still terrible at typing. I got like 2 fingers on one hand, 3 on the other. But I've learned all of the technical stuff on my own. Okay, that's what I did. And I took some courses too. I'm not going to say I didn't do that. I paid for some courses on how to do stuff. I listened to Frank Kern a lot in the beginning. I met him at the War Room, and I got to sit and talk to him for a while about different things. I think he's an incredibly smart person. I think he's a genius in marketing. I think he's hot and cold, and I would tell him that, he'll get on a bandwagon of one thing and he'll really work on it, and then all of a sudden he'll disappear, and then he'll start up something else. And he's kind of bouncing all over the place all the time. And I think that's, he talks about having attention deficit. And I think that is exhibited in the way he does stuff, but he's a brilliant person. Now, why is it really essential to own your own brand? I think that's a question you need to ask yourself. Now, what we've gone over is how to own your brand. Okay. It is important to understand the why. The why is always the important thing, right? Why is something going on? Many external factors play a part in knowledge. Entrepreneurs, businesses, and sometimes they're out of our control as a content creator. Okay. You can't always control what's going on. I put up a new video on my cooking channel the other day, and somebody did a music claim on there so that I couldn't monetize it. It was a fake music claim because all my music is paid for through a site, and I get music through that site and I pay for it. But they'll put up these fake claims thinking people will just collapse and let them claim all the income on their videos. And I don't. I always, fight it. And they put it up on 2 of mine, 2 spots in the video, and they've already backed up on one of them because they're fake. They're just fake. Okay. So you got to be able to handle that kind of stuff too. Social media is really going to be an integral part of most content creator strategy. So understand the platform you're on, understand what Facebook wants, understand what YouTube wants. Facebook, I think for organic traffic is almost dead unless they change some stuff there. YouTube is very good. I think Instagram's good. I think TikTok is very good, though I don't use some of those platforms as much. But it's an obvious external factor. And it has an algorithm. You've got to figure out what that algorithm is. How many times have you seen an Instagram influencer say, like this post so I can stay on your feed? They know what's going on. They know that if you don't like stuff, if you don't watch stuff, if you don't, integrate with them, like when you watch some of my videos, whether it's a live or an uploaded video, you're going to see more of them because YouTube says, hey, this person's interested in this person or this subject. You may see some more videos on that subject. That's how it works. They want to keep you on that particular platform. Algorithm updates are happening every single day, and they can be unfavorable to your business if you're doing it wrong, but they can be very favorable if you're doing it right. So that's something that you got to be aware of. Let me check here. All of these things like postings and podcastings require consistency, Paul says. Most people give up after 50 posts. And even less for podcast developers. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was looking through some of my content and I was looking at some of the comments on there from 5-6 years ago. And I looked at all these people who were commenting, who were also working on their channels at the time because we had a little group going. And I would say 99% of them are gone at this point. They're gone. One of them has about 500,000 subscribers, which is amazing. But he's in the gaming thing. So, you can build that pretty fast. But people don't stay. They just don't, Paul. It's because it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I'll do a video sometimes and I'll get 90,000 views, and then I'll do another video and I get 8. What is the rhyme or reason of that? I don't know. I try to analyze it. I try to look at the subject. I try to look at and see what I said on there. I try to look at the thumbnail, the titles, all these things. But you're going to have more failures than you have successes. People can't deal with that. I will break more things in the kitchen than my wife will, by far. I've broken more glasses, more plates, more anything that my wife ever has. And you could say, well, she's a lot more careful in the kitchen. And I would beg to differ with you because I think the difference is I'm in the kitchen every single day cooking dinner. I'm in there cooking lunch. I'm doing all these things. So if you're touching all these items every day, you have a high degree of chance of things going wrong. Okay. I've burned more meals than she has because I cook more meals than she has. I've had more bad meals than she has because I cook more meals than she has. So when you do things, guys, the more you do things, the more failures or problems you're going to have. So you got to understand that. I think that's why most people go away. They just can't handle those failures. It is all part of it. And I don't think of any of them as failures. I think of them as stepping stones of things that need to get me to where I'm going. So why is owning your brand so crucial right now? Many businesses who relied on, let's say, Facebook for their shops, communications, businesses suffered a loss of revenue when Facebook was out of commission for almost a whole business day. So you got to be really careful of these platforms too. That was in October of this year, October 2021. This was a harsh reminder that relying on other brands to host your content can really come back and bite you. I think it's immensely important to have your own website. I think that's super, super important. You've got to have a feasible long-term strategy. Plus, people have to have a place to go to get more information about you. If you're relying on these platforms, these social media platforms, and they don't show your stuff, then people can't see it, okay? But if you've got your own website, you've got your own podcast, you've got your own email newsletter, you've got your own courses, your book, whatever, people have a way of getting more information from you. Having a brand, let me click here for a second. Having a brand really is not enough in the crowded creator world. The influencer economy, get this, is expected to reach 13.8 billion in 2022. Now, to stay afloat, knowledge entrepreneurs must own their own brand and every facet to see success. Looking for an easy way to start building and doing your own brand, I would suggest looking at YouTube. I have no affiliation with YouTube whatsoever, outside of the fact that I have some videos there. But I get a lot of people off YouTube. They watch my videos, they opt in for my stuff, they buy my courses. I make money on ads. YouTube is a good platform for me, for a long format video. And long format, I do 10 to 12 minutes, something like that. TikTok may be a great one for you if you want to do something under 60 seconds. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys know in the chat section, what the optimal length of a TikTok video is, or, how long it can be there. And same thing with Twitter. People do tweets all the time. Elon Musk is a big Twitter guy. But they limit the number of characters. They did increase it a few years ago. But if you're doing little sayings and stuff like that, and you know how to use all the hashtags, maybe Twitter is going to be great for you. I think Facebook can be good. It can be good if you're running ads and you're trying to build a list, you're trying to build your group through running advertising. But I will tell you, you can lose your ad account on Facebook like within a split second, and they'll never tell you why. It's happened to me. It's happened to tons of friends I know. They've created multiple accounts, and sometimes you can get them back. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're off forever. So Facebook is very touchy. I like Google better. I like Google better because they will work with you. They tell you what you need to do. And if you make a mistake, they don't cut you off forever and never speak to you again. Facebook will ghost you. They will ghost you. Okay. So it's important to understand, guys, owning your own brand and all the places that you need to build your brand. Okay. It's really important that you do that. And I'll take any questions that you guys have here. We're nearing our end of our training today, but feel free to put them in there. Feel free to, tell me what you think. If you've got any ideas, I want to hear them. Okay. I love hearing ideas from you guys, not because I can't think up any ideas. I mean, I've got tons of ideas of videos. I've got, hundreds and hundreds of them. However, I want to provide you with what you want. This channel is your channel. It's not my channel. If it was my channel and I didn't have anybody else, there would be no point. The point is to get information to you guys. So that's why it's so important. And I'll tell you, what is really interesting to me is when I look at the comments on my videos, and I'm doing live Facebook and I'm doing live YouTube, 99% of the comments come from YouTube. 99%. It seems like the people on YouTube want a long, type video, and they want to be able to converse with you, which makes sense. Failure is the learning part of the thing called experience. Yes. I've had so much failures, so many failures. And I talk to my friends, both of which are probably worth in the hundreds of millions. You can't ask people, but you can look at their assets and you can tell what's going on. They tell me about multiple failures and problems they had and things that went wrong in their life and things that went wrong in their business life and personal life. It's just part of it. I think it's so important to collect emails in case you go to Facebook or get kicked off a platform. 100%, you've got to own your audience. And the only way you're going to own your audience is to give them something of value to get them on your list. Okay, now I have a list of buyers and I have a list of opt-ins. Sometimes opt-ins become buyers. And buyers obviously are already opt-ins because they opted in for your course. But you know, when you have a list like that, like I have a big list for, it's not big, it's big enough for my Survivalcave food company. And we've been out of some meats for a while, and I just got a ton yesterday. We got 4 pallets ready yesterday, actually. And then I got another 4 coming. So that's 12 pallets. And I know I can send out an email and sell all that. You know, I can make in the 6 figures because I have a list. And if you don't have a list, you are screwed, because when you do have something good, you built a community, you can't tell them about it. You got to have a list. The best way to build a list is to use Kartra. Kartra is amazing. There is a video that you're going to see in the description after this video is up on YouTube. Now, right now it's live, which means it's not really up. Okay. It's not a recorded video. Once it becomes a recorded video on YouTube, then you'll see all the comments under the actual video. You'll see the description and you'll see these links that I'm talking about. I also have a free course there you can check out too. Do you keep separate lists for people? 100%. Yeah, I think I just mentioned that. And I not only keep separate lists because I have my, food, buyers, I have my people who want to make money online, but I have different tags. So if you bought a particular item and I'm saying, let's say you bought Ecom Road. Okay. And I'm doing a big promotion for Ecom Road, and you're in my list of people who are interested in making money online, but you've already bought Ecom Road. When I go to send out that email, it will be an email about Ecom Road, but I'll also add and don't send to people who have a tag that they were a purchaser of Ecom Road, because they already bought it. So why would they want to see it again? Why would you want to send it again? And why would you want to spend the money to do it? So once they get on my list, I tag them with things they do or what they've done. Now, some of my products, let's say let's say I did a promotion on canned chicken, which I did the other day, 14.5 ounce canned chicken. And I did a promotion on it. And that promotion was for the 14.5 ounce cans. But what I did is I tagged them. And since I was sending out emails for a week, the tag that I put on them that they were the 14.5 ounce chicken can buyers would expire. So I do expiring tags, because maybe that week they weren't interested in 14.5 ounce, chicken, or maybe they bought it and I didn't want them to get the next email. So that way that tag expires. And if I do another promotion 6 months from now, even if they bought it and they were tagged for that, the tag expires and they'll see the new promotion. Because in the new promotion, maybe they want more, maybe they ate what they got. Okay. So it's also important to have expiring tags based on what you're doing. I do that a lot. Yeah, I think I've hit most of the comments in there. Paul's been very nice to give me a bunch of comments. I get the majority of them afterwards. And the reason that I do is the obvious reason. I do these things at 10 o'clock in the morning during the week. Not too many people can pull away from their job, they're working, and watch me at 10 o'clock in the morning. However, afterwards, I get hundreds or even thousands of views on these videos because people want the information, but it's not convenient for them. And I know it's not convenient. And you may say to yourself, well, why don't you do it when it's convenient for them? Well, because they can always come back and watch. And I have to have some convenience too. And it is convenient for me to do one at 10 a.m. So that's when I do it. So I hope that's helped you out. I hope you understand the brand thing, building your list thing, having a website thing, watching out for which platform you're on. All these things are super important. All these things I implement on a daily basis. And also give me your input on the microphone. Give me your input on the microphone. Let me know what you think. Is it something, and you got to listen to one of my other videos. Is it something that you want to hear more of? Okay. Is that the case? I want to know that. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope the microphone's good. Let me know. This is my wife's microphone. This isn't mine. That's pretty fancy. Let's get one of her hairs on it right there. Okay. Let me get a sip real quick before we go away. What software do you recommend for doing a course? Sound is a lot better. Well, that's good to know. 100% Kartra. I've tried Kajabi. I've tried a whole bunch of other ones. I won't list all the other ones I use, but 100% Kartra. Kartra is the only one out there, and I don't think they've come up with one yet, that lets you know how far people watch a video. Now you may say, why is that so important? Well, it could tell you that there's a bad part in the video. If everybody's leaving at 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and it's a 10-minute video, you may want to look at 3 minutes, 30 seconds and see what you said there, what happened there. There could be a big reason for that, and then you can correct it. Kartra is the only one that allows you to upload your videos to their platform so that you can use that analytic. Plus the fact, maybe somebody only watches 2 minutes of it, but the average person watches 8 minutes. You may want to send out an email to the people that left at 2 minutes and say, hey, I saw that you didn't get a chance to finish this video. Click here to go back and watch the video. Now that's pretty cool to get engagement. You can do that in Kartra. You can't do it in the other platforms. Not to mention that the courses in Kartra are free because they come along with your email, your page builders, your sequence builders, just everything. It's all in one place, and you don't have to go to a bunch of different places. Kajabi has some marketing in there, but you couldn't do all your marketing, your sales pages and everything in Kajabi. You couldn't do it. That's why it's so super important to have something like Kartra that teaches you all this, and you have the access to all this. Let's see here. So I think I'm good. I gotta go back to recording videos for YouTube now, guys. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate your comments. If you're watching this and it's not live, don't worry, don't fear. Go down to the comment section, put some comments in there, questions in there, whatever you got. Let me know what's going on. Okay. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know if you have any problems. Let me know any suggestions you have. I want to hear that from you. Thanks so much for listening to this video. I hope you appreciate the information. Love each and every one of you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That means a lot, guys. So please do that right now. Just click that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. It's a big red subscribe button. Okay. It's scary if you haven't clicked it yet, but do that. Don't forget to also ring the bell, turn on all bell notifications so you're notified. My bell is turned. I just noticed that. Oh my gosh, that's so much better, right? It's a lot better. I like that a whole lot better. All right, guys, you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. If I find the end button, hang on. I think I got it.